Hi, so my Hikvision DVR seems to be having a bit of a problem. It seems to be beeping every few minutes and saying hard disk failure. The problem is, I've just changed the hard disk about half an hour ago and it's still coming up hard disk failure. You can see here, it's coming up hard disk error. First it was saying it couldn't record and then it was coming up hard disk error. So whatever the problem is, it's actually in the DVR and it's nothing to do with the hard disk. You can just hear it beeping away again there. So let's get it on the mat and we'll see if we can figure out what's up with this. So I brought the DVR over to the bench. I'm just going to remove these two screws here and then we'll get the lid off. I've already been into this earlier on to swap the hard disk over, but it's still coming up with the problem. So that's the 2 terabyte hard drive that I've just put in. Let's just zoom down a little bit. And the SATA cables and everything are in okay. I'm just wondering if this could be power related. Because the power supply, the hard disk needs 12 volts. And I think the board just needs either 3.3 or 5 volts. So I'm just wondering if there's a problem on the 12 volt line. Let's plug it in and we'll get the test meter on it. We'll just see what voltages we're getting where. Let's find a ground point, so that probably do. So 3.3, I guess that'll be 5 volts, it is. This should be 12, and I've only got 10.1. So the 12 volt is down a bit. And the other voltages look okay. We've only got 10 volts on the 12 volt line. It did actually work when I first plugged it in. It did actually work for about 10 minutes or something. So I think I might leave it for about 10 minutes. We'll come back because this has been switched off for a couple of hours now since I've actually had time to have a look at it. So I'm going to leave it 10 minutes and then come back and I'm just going to measure the power supply again. Well, it's been on about 10 minutes and it hasn't beeped yet. It hasn't came up with the error. Let's see what the voltage is still. It's still about 10. So I definitely think there's something wrong with the power supply, and perhaps when I've got the lid on, it's heating up a bit more and it's dropping below a certain threshold and crashing the hard drive. I think that's what's wrong with it. So I'm going to take the power supply out and have a look at that, because I would have thought it should be kicking out 12 volts, not 10. Actually says on there 12 volts, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can get that in shot. So we're supposed to have 12 volts, not 10. The other voltages seem okay. So I suspect something like capacitors or something have gone in this power supply. So I'll get this plug out. And it looks like we have 3 screws and a nut type thing on the back here. Right, that's fairly straightforward to remove. Let's get the rest of this out of the way. Let's see how this comes apart then. It's also a bit corroded around here as well, but it was like that when I got it, so. Let's see, I bought this second hand. Well, I can't see any domed capacitors. Just looking in here, they all look okay. I mean, it's a little bit dusty in here, but that wouldn't affect this. I'm still going to get this board out and we'll check some of those capacitors, because there must be a problem on this. It's got to be. I'm trying to work out how the case comes apart. Right. Let's connect this little fan. And it looks like we've got a cable tie here. That should be to get to everything we need to like that anyway. So I've just been having a quick trace through the circuit. This is the 12 volt output here. And we've got a jumper wire from there to there. We have a capacitor here, so that could be a suspect. And also jumpers from here to here. And it looks like it comes to this point here. So I think that's an inductor on the other side. So this is ground, but I was trying to work out where the voltage comes from, but I think it comes from here. I think it comes from this top of the transformer. We have a diode here, and then I think it goes to another capacitor here. So I might try the ESR gold. I might try measuring some voltages to see what voltage we get on these capacitors. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get this earth wire and just screw it to there for the moment, just so it's not floating about and shorting anything out. Now we'll have to short out, I think it's the green wire here. So I've got a resistor leg, I think. So if I just bend that. And if we ground the green wire, that should make the power supply turn on. If I can get that in there. Like so. Now if I plug the mains in, we should be able to check some voltages. So I'm going to volts DC. I'm just going to plug this in. I've got a ground point here. I'm just going to switch this on now. So that's our 10 volts, which should be 12. And I think it comes from over here. So I'm just going to try on here. And it does indeed. And then it looks like it goes through a couple of transistors, but the fact we've only got 10 volts here suggests it could be further back. So let's switch this off. Just unplug it. I'll just wait for this mains cap to discharge. And I think I'll use the ESR 70 gold and we'll just check some of these capacitors here. So the first one is from here. I'm just going to check them in circuit just to get a rough idea. Well, maybe alright. I mean, the ESR is 1.04, so depending on what voltage it is, I think the other capacitor was over here, so let's try that one. So that one seems okay as well. So why have we got low voltage? I mean, the other voltages are correct, so I don't know what it uses to regulate, but I would have thought all of the voltages would increase or decrease together. So I'm not so sure on this one at the moment. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with the feedback circuit, which is these optocouplers here. Now those go through to this part here, and there is a couple of capacitors there. We've got a 16 volt 47 microfarad and a 50 volt 22 microfarad. And those seem to be on those two terminals there and those ones there. So let's try those. I'll just get the ESR 70 gold again. I know I'm measuring them in circuit, but it's just to get a rough idea. Well, I didn't particularly like that one. Let's try this one. .6. And that was only 16 volts, so that does seem high. And that's 47 microfarads. Might well be that then. I think I might take these capacitors out and then we'll check them out of circuit. Right, I'll put the iron on. Let's put a bit fresh solder on first. Let's see if that one wants to come out. Oh, it just went on the floor. Right, found it. Still think that ESR is a little bit high for that capacitor. 16 volt 47. Let's try just replacing this one in any case. I'll see if I can find a one. Well, I've just found a 25 volt 47, but this is only an 85 degree one. We'll just measure this one again. We've got 44 1.26 ohms. And if I just measure this one, which is brand new, we actually get similar readings, so I think this is going to be alright. So we'll pop this one back in and then we'll check the other one. Right, let's get this other one out. I think this one's stuck on some of that gunge. Let's see how this one measures. And this is supposed to be 22 microfarad. No. I don't know if you can see that. That might just be dust. I wasn't sure if that was leaking there at the bottom. Again, we've got a lower ASR. So I guess that one's probably okay as well. I'll pop this one back in then. Yeah, it was stuck on some of that guns there. I'll try and get that out of the way, I think. I know we've got this big smoother here, which seems to supply a lot of the voltages. I don't know what value it is because it's wrapped in a heat sleeve in there, heat shrink. I suppose I could always try that one just to make sure it's okay. I know it seems to measure okay in circuit, but you never know. It looks like it's across those 2 points. Let's just more desolder that one. So 25 volt, 2200. Well, close enough. So it's a bit stumped, this one so far. Let's check if they're in the right way. I'm sure I have, but yeah. I don't know why they put heat sleeving around it, or heat shrink around it for. I would have thought it would have been one of the capacitors on the output, but I guess not. I don't know whether I get this under the microscope and have a look around here, just in case it's something to do with a regulation problem. Just wonder if one of these opto-isolators have gone faulty or something, because I did have something similar, but that was too much voltage on a Shark air purifier, I think it was. And that was a faulty opto-isolator. So I'm just wondering if those opto-isolators are working correctly. Right, I've got it under the microscope. Let's just have a look over the board, see if we can see anything obvious. Possibly a fatigued solder joint there. Just there. Possibly a couple of other ones as well. I might touch up some of these joints with the soldering iron, just as some of them don't look the best. Another one just down here, for instance. And another one down there. Yeah, that one. Well, I'll touch those up with the iron first, and then we'll see if that makes any difference, I think. Right, I think that looks a bit better. Let's see if that's made any difference. Right, I'll just put it back in the case. Let's just switch it on. Try and get them probes in there. We've still got 10.2. So I've got a feeling that it might be around here now then, because we've got these two opto-isolators which give feedback to this part here. We've got lots of transistors and that and stuff around here, so I'm wondering if it's in amongst this lot where the problem is. I'm probably going to have to get it under the microscope again and have a look to see if we can figure out what these transistors and things are and how they work. So I spent a little bit of time trying to trace through the circuits here, and we've got these transistors here marked AVW. So I've done a search online and those seem to be TL431s, which are used to regulate the power supply. So we've got one here, and when we have a look here, we've got 5 volts over voltage protection, which seems to be this one here. We have another one of them down here, and then we've got another one down here, which says 12 volt over voltage protection. So I'm just wondering if the problem is around here somewhere. And I did trace it back through as well, because if you follow, I think it's this line here, and then follow it back. Might be that line, hold on. I'll try it from the other way, yeah, from here. This is the 10 volt, or should be 12 volt output. Goes to this 0 ohm resistor here. And then it goes to I think it's this point here, and then we've got a voltage divider with these 2 resistors here, which then go to the reference pin of this TL431, and the output goes to another transistor here, and then I think that's the over voltage protection. So I'm going to switch the power supply back on, and I'm going to try and measure some voltages, because we should have 2.5 reference voltage on some of these TL431s. We've got the top one there, 2.4, 2.4. Oh, when I measure that one, it's making the power supply throttle down. So even just measuring this one seems to be causing a problem. So I wonder if it's the actual IC itself, or something to do with these divider resistors or something. So I think that's where the problem is, around here somewhere. I'm just going to switch this back off for now. Actually, I wonder what the thermal camera does. Let's get the thermal camera on it. We'll just have a look under the thermal camera. Right, got the thermal camera out. I'm just going to switch this on now. It looks like we've got a couple of components getting hot there. And one of them appears to be that TL431. And it looks like one of the other ones or something's getting hot up here as well, maybe. Actually, I think that's the resistor there. So I'm just wondering if that TL431's gone faulty. Just here. So I've been having a look around on my old boards, and I found one on an old power supply here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of flux on. And then we'll get the hot air rework station on it. I'm just going to add a little bit of flux to this one. And I might put a little bit leaded solder on there just so it's easier to remove. Might actually speed to. I think these might be glued on. So I thought that would have came off there. Let's use a bit of solder wick to clean that off. Right, that's that done. So we'll see if that's made any difference. Right, I've got it hooked up to the dim bulb tester just in case anything goes wrong. So let's see if that's made any difference or not. Well, it's on. And we've still only got 10.2 volts. So not that then. So I've desoldered this resistor here, which is part of the resistive divider that feeds the TL431 here. Just to see what value it measures. And 46.4, which is what it should be. I think this one's supposed to be 28.6 or something. So 28 and 46.4, so those are right. Right, I'll pop that back in then. Well, I've just finished replacing the resistor and I just thought I'd just try it on the off chance. So if we go on here and go to here, we've got 12 volts now. So I'm wondering if it was a bad connection on the underneath of that resistor or something. Let's see what we get on the TL431. See if it still pulls the power down if I measure it. So that one there, wasn't it? No, we've got 2.4 volts there now. And when I measure it, it's not pulling the power supply down. So I think there might have been a bad connection on that resistor, because it all seems to be working now. Don't you just love it when you're not 100% on the problem, but that seems to have cured it, and that's the only thing I've done, so that's the only thing I can think that was wrong. So I'm going to leave it on test for a bit, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see if the fault reoccurs or if that's cured it. Well, I've put it back together and put it back in the DVR. I've put the original hard drive back in the DVR as well. And we're still measuring 12.1. We'll just check the other voltages while we're here. 3.3, 5 volts, 12 volts. So all voltages are correct. So I'm just going to let this run for a while and then put it back in situ and we'll see how we get on, but I think that's it. It's been about a week now, and as you can see, the lambs are doing well. I think there's just one just being born there. You might just be to see around the back there. I'll zoom in a moment. But the DVR is recording fine. You can see the hard drive light going there. So I'm glad I didn't throw the old drive away and tested it with crystal disc, because obviously the hard drive wasn't the problem. It was the 2-volt drop on the power supply that was causing the error message to throw up and the hard drive not to work correctly. So have you ever had a device give a completely wrong error code? Tell me your most frustrating red herring down in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it the big thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I best go and sort this lamp out now.